Hello and welcome to Home Day. So much information in today's show, we should just get started right away. Please welcome designer Karen Seeley. Come on in here, Karen. We just had a great time in Florida, and you brought us back some of the goodies you saw because this is your era. You like this era. What era is this?
This is mid-century modern, and actually I had started my journey. It was kind of a 3-week gal event. I started it in Palm Springs.
Ooh, nice.
I went for Modernism Week, and honestly, Palm Springs is great. Modernism Week is amazing because they open up a lot of private residents that you wouldn't normally get to see, and you get to tour through them. So I'm going to run through just 4 of my favorites and talk a little bit about the architecture so that we can talk about the furniture that goes in these homes and why it still works today.
So someone actually lives here?
Yes.
So we cannot move in then?
Well,
do they want to adopt people? Can we visit?
Isn't it amazing?
It's beautiful.
It is. And the great thing about this mid-century modern, this is the Cody House, by the way, and one of the things that's amazing about it is that it was actually built fairly modestly. It was meant to be fairly simple and take advantage of obviously natural light.
Yeah.
And they're kind of a lot of boxes and pretty square, which is an inexpensive way to build a home. They're not mansions. These are 1,200 square feet, 1,600 square feet, 1,800 square feet, 2,200. Like they're a modest-sized home. I mean, yes, you can find some larger ones, but the majority are quite livable.
Yeah.
And they were meant to be built with inexpensive materials, and so that the average family could afford them.
Ranch style?
A lot of ranch style, and you'll see that. So this is the Cody House. The next one is the Kaufmann House. And one of the famous Kaufmann houses is the Frank Lloyd Wright Falling Water. This is the Kaufmann House in Palm Springs, which is the desert house. This was a vacation house in Palm Springs. And from the street, it's very modest. Yeah. And then when you come down the back, you actually come in through these stairs and down from the street. And then it all opens up. And it's all about these beautiful glass walls that open up and embrace the outdoors and nice, clean, simple lines.
And that's what you think of when you think of modernism. You think of these open spaces, you know, having this glass wall that leads out to this gorgeous pool.
Yes.
And it's just lovely. Do they have houses in this era that have basements and have second floors?
Not generally. Most of these are
so
slab on grade, so it's a concrete slab. And obviously that's also something to do with this area. They don't, most houses in that area just don't have basements.
Right.
So you know, if that house was built in this area, yeah, chances are you might have something.
Okay.
So this is a whole area. It's a subdivision basically called Twin Palms, and this was built in the 50s. And basically the reason they called it Twin Palms is every house, once it kind of was opened and sold, came with 2 palm trees.
Oh, cool.
And the roof line, this whole development was designed by Bill Kressel, who I met when I was actually there, and I walked through this house and I met him. He was there, which was amazing.
Look at you, all starstruck.
I know. I got to talk to him and talk to him about inspirations.
Did you ask him for autographs?
Well, I asked him about the roof line, and he said basically because Palm Springs is obviously in the mountains, that he was inspired by the mountains. So this is what often people refer to as the butterfly roof line, and it was his concept.
That's
and
amazing.
This neighborhood has it. And this interesting thing about this neighborhood is the exterior of all the houses look different. So they have different roof lines, different materials, different colors.
Yeah.
The interiors are all identical.
Really?
And the reason they did that is that if you have all identical interiors, it's really cost effective to build these. So it really is about affordability, about everybody getting good design. It's not designed for the elite, it's designed for the masses.
Is this sort of like the creation of the suburban house, the subdivision?
Definitely, around the 40s and 50s. Exactly. Right. And this is inside that same house. Lovely. And you can see some of the furniture that I actually brought today. So the great thing is a lot of this furniture is still in production. Yeah. But if you don't want an original, you don't want it, like there's a price tag attached with an original, you can actually buy really great reproductions. Yes. So if you're a collector and you want the originals, you can still get them. In fact, sometimes you can even find them at vintage sales and you can reupholster them.
That is true. Okay, so let's look at this. Everyone knows this line.
Yes.
You know, and it's never going to go anywhere because it's a beautiful classic shape. What is this called?
This one is the egg chair originally, and this particular one is the dwell chair from Paths of Life by Pink and Brown.
Love it.
So
subtle, the color.
You know what? And this was actually designed in 1958, and it's still, as you know, you could still put it in any space today, a modern space today, and it looks like it was, you know, designed yesterday.
Stands the test of time. Now these two as well, a lot of people like to use these for office chairs or even dining room chairs, right?
And they come in so many fun colors. So if your house is pretty monochromatic, but then all of a sudden you want to have a punch of color, imagine having yellow chairs all the way around your table. So these are the Eames Chairs originally, and at Castle Life they're called the silver chair. Okay. And different bases.
Very nice. Now, is this a lamp?
This is, and a lot of people have seen these. This was developed in the late 40s by George Nelson. It was the bubble lamps, and they come in all different sizes. This one is the cocoon. So it's a reproduction.
I love the shape of that.
And then the tulip table, which with the marble top. These are really interesting because a lot of people know the name Eames. So it's actually Ray and Charles Eames. They were a married couple. And Charles had done all the furniture at the Time Life building in 1960, and they asked Ray, who was actually a sculptor, they asked her if she would design some occasional tables.
These are
and
lovely.
so she did these based on kind of the idea of a chess set. And these are walnut, and they can be stools, they can be side tables, you can move them around. So they're really fun and something that's never going to go out of style.
One thing that seems to be very indicative of this time was the low. The furniture was low, which is why these occasional tables seem to be so low. But if you're on a sofa, you know, with a low back and low arms, it all makes sense, right?
Well, and I think one of the things I really love about the mid-century modern furniture as well is because the scale isn't huge.
Right.
So if you're living in a condo, if you're living in a small space, if you're living in one of these homes that was only maybe 1,200, 1,600 square feet, you're not looking for big, huge, roly-poly sofas. You're actually looking for very tailored pieces, and then you can have more.
Right. Well, the furniture was tiny, but so were we back then. Don't you remember? People were small. When I look at my mom's like vintage clothes, I can't believe what a size 8 is now and what a size 8 was then. It's like a size 4. It's crazy. So we've grown, and so is our furniture.
Yes,
right, to accommodate our bums. That's what happens. So let's talk about these pieces. This is almost like sculptural. It's almost like an art piece in itself. It's beautiful.
In the 50s, there was a lot of very complicated or fussy design coming out of places like Italy.
Right.
So what happened is the mid-century modern movement was kind of counter to that. It was like, let's make it streamlined, let's make it clean lines, it was kind of after World War II, and there's all these new materials available, like there was veneers, and there was plastics, and there was resins, and it was so exciting. And all of a sudden you could mass produce things and it wouldn't cost as much money. Right. So all of these very interesting kind of sculptural looking pieces came up, but still really clean lines. To me, this kind of looks like it would be a hairdryer.
Yeah, it does. Doesn't it? Actually, it's perfect.
Like 1950s, I could be gossiping at the hair salon with you.
That's great. And the stool as well in the fun bright color, and as well as this light piece is beautiful.
Yeah, and this comes in counter height and bar height. So there's lots of options. You can bring a few pieces in and really make your home feel a little eclectic without having to commit to an entire mid-century modern architecture home.
Thanks for taking us on your journey with you. Let's go to break. We've got more coming up from Home Day.